Alright, hello everyone and welcome back to a showcase of the Deep Blue contest hacks. And we are on our final hack, which was actually made by yours truly. So this video is going to be a little bit different. It's not going to be for the purpose of writing a review. It is going to be for the purpose of... Oh crap. The demos in this are a bit broken. Okay, just ignore that, it's a feature. Okay, so this recording is going to be for the purpose of completing the playlist of the Deep Blue contest and for giving a little bit of developer commentary, which I think is a unique opportunity here. So let's put this into full screen. And so this is definitely going to be not your average blind playthrough, because I'm obviously going to know everything that's going to happen. So if you want to get an non-spoiler video, I guess you shouldn't look at this, but if you want to get a non-spoiler outlook on a hack, you should really play it yourself. Like, if you want to not be spoiled for the other contest hacks, don't watch those videos either. I guess I should have said that earlier, and I'm sorry for that. It's kind of unfair to the other hacks for me to not say that, but that's kind of common sense at this point. So anyway, I guess you should already know this. You're smart people. The first thing that should be discussed is this asteroid. That's kind of important. That's part of the lore. Let's learn more about the lore.
The last Metroid is in captivity. The galaxy is at peace.
Alright. So, Samus says, I have received new orders from the Galactic Federation. Long ago, there was a bioweapon research facility on a distant asteroid. It has since been abandoned. Let me just move my mic actually. Hold up. Let's get reoriented here. It has since been abandoned. Over the years, its orbit passed closer and closer to Earth, until now. The asteroid will soon hit Earth. Unless I have anything to say about it. It's very clear and concise. The palettes there give a hint at the upcoming suit palette that you're going to see. The asteroid on the title screen was the asteroid that you're playing on. I wanted to change this. Didn't really have time because apparently the game stores a million different copies of the same exact picture of Zebes. That's how I say it. Fight me. And changing them all is a huge chore. And this one was especially hard to find because there's no convenient editor for it in Smile. So that'll be for the 1.1 release, for sure. But anyway, I couldn't change that fly to Zebes cutscene, but we are on the asteroid now. You're supposed to be flying to the asteroid. And the asteroid is hurtling towards Earth, so we can see the Earth in the background here. That's one of the first impressions we get. Take note of this image of the Earth, because that's going to be important a little bit later. As always, we have new suit palettes, just like most of the contest hacks did have. We have new beam palettes, you know, blue menus. Everything's blue. It's a blue contest. We're in the dark caverns, you know. Sometimes the planet GFX glitches out when you pause and unpause. Luckily, most people don't notice that, so that's good. We have some new door graphics. These are... I wish I knew who made these, but they are from the GBA-styled CRE resource. I want to say they were drawn by Christ, but I could be wrong on that. But the door caps are from Zero Mission. The door tube is from that resource. Another thing about the door is we have a glow. Very subtle. I like how that turned out. And the doors open fast, they transition fast. That's all well and good. Then you're thrown into this room with a bunch of bubbles. So there's something fishy going on here, clearly. This is where the player learns that you can shoot the small bubbles, but not the big ones. And also bubbles and this stuff is important. It's glowy and bad. Music is bad. Foreboding, not bad. Up here we have a 2 block wide gap which you can spin jump into and not actually get stuck because it is possible to get out from the left side. You can wiggle your way out to the right. I'm not really good at that actually, so I'm not going to do that, but that's a dumb error that I made. I'm going to try to be honest about this, where I made mistakes too, because I pointed out the mistakes of other hacks, of course. I think that's only fair. So we have this elevator going deep down into the planet, and this is an elevator that was made using the Big Domino tutorial, multi-room elevator, and I just love that effect so much. Really just gives the feeling that you're going really far down. You know, we're into the belly of the whale, one might say. Yellow door caps are also glowing. Good stuff. So this room is the player's introduction to a pretty important concept. We have some side hoppers. And my arm hurts for some reason. That's in real life. We have some side hoppers, no big deal, but then bam! There's a blue side hopper here who we can't kill. Our only option is to run. So let's get the heck away from him. The player's like, whoa, that's a thing. So he has been infected by the blue plague, which is this stuff here. It's the bubbles, I don't know. The blue plague is just kind of embodied by all of this stuff. It's spreading across the terrain. Just in case they struggled with that side hopper, we have a refill station. Because they do decent bit of damage. So let's check out this room. We have some Geemers here. You know, nothing big, but boom! Blue Geemers. They are glowy, they are aggressive, and they follow you around, and you can't kill them. So much more dangerous than the regular Geemers. Clearly, this blue plague is not to be trifled with. We do not want this plague reaching the earth. We have the boring ball. Item names are changed, just for fun. You know, it is pretty boring, to be fair. It's just a ball. Once you've seen it once, you've seen it a million times. These bubbles are fun. I like that. You can just... I don't know if it's kind of narcissistic to gush about some parts of your own hack, but I think it's important to take pride in your work, at least a little bit. And I'm pretty satisfied with this. I'm a lot more satisfied with this hack overall than Operation Save Thanksgiving. Yes, it does have some flaws and some dumb things. But overall, it's pretty cool. We get a glimpse at some blue key hunters. Those do not look like they would be fun to engage. Of course, that's my opinion. And these doors are interesting from the perspective of... once you go through one of them, you get locked in. So you have the choice to go left or right. Which way is more fun? Let's go to the left. I'm definitely going to come back just because I want to show you guys like as much of this hack as I can. I'll probably try to show everything in the hack, honestly. And seeing this red gate reminds me that I should have gone right to show everything in a most efficient manner. But that's okay. Got a bomb thing, so we can't really do much in this hallway, actually. We'll have to come back here later. Some refill bugs. The player doesn't need them, but they're just nice to have in case you happen to be real low on energy in this area. One thing about this hack is you'll notice these gates are used very frequently. And that is because when I was designing the map, I wanted it to feel like a regular Metroidvania map design, but this contest has a room limit. So I designed it as if it was a regular Metroidvania, and then replaced as many actual doors as I could with gates, literally just to save on rooms for the room limit. So they're meant to serve literally the exact same purpose as a door, but without being a door. So that's just a thing. All about working within limitations of your design. We have bombs, and then we have a fun little chain block section that also serves to break the blocks that were under this gate. And the reason for that is to prevent yourself from becoming stuck in here by closing the gate. If that didn't get broken, you could just get stuck. Every single gate in this area has that potential problem. Like if I could get behind this gate and just close it. Sometimes the gates are a little finicky in this game. There we go. then I'd be stuck in here. But I used chain blocks in all of these scenarios to make sure that that was not a problem. You could shoot it from the inside and get back out. No problem. No problem at all. There's a save station here. Let's use it just for fun. And there's actually a secret here. I wanted to make it more obvious. In fact, I did make it more obvious, but I was editing the wrong version of my ROM. So that was me being really dumb. So in the 1.1 release, the secret's probably going to be more obvious because I didn't see anyone who found it. I guess if you guys think it's not a problem, then let me know. But it's kind of a big secret. It's an energy tank, or a life tank. I'm not sure though. It is important to have some secrets that are more obscure so that the more explorative player is rewarded for being attentive, I guess. You know, you don't want a hack where it just hands everything out to the player without them even having to think. That's not exploration. It's hard to strike this balance with these designs, as you all probably know if you've tried to make a Metroid hack. And most of you have succeeded probably in making a Metroid hack if you're part of the Metroid construction community. A lot of you are definitely better at these designs than I am, I'm sure, so you know of all this stuff already. But it's definitely worth talking about just for the sake of discussing everything that went into the design of this and for people who don't think of everything when they see it. We've got some more refill bugs here, and we have an eye door, but I actually can't hurt it right now. I don't have missiles or anything. I don't have charge beam. Nothing that I could even think of. Bombs, maybe. The player might try to bomb it. I'm just gonna tell you right now that that's not gonna work. But it is worth trying because you can change the vulnerability of an eye door using a patch that I released that was created as part of the development of this hack. So that's really cool. Some people will help me out with that. If you look up the patch on the website, you'll see the credits. Special thanks. And that'll come into play in a sec here. But first of all, we have the secret now. So once the player realizes they can't do anything, they'll come back here and they'll find this secret. More fun with chain blocks. I love Black Falcon's chain blocks, by the way. He did a great job with those. And then we get the accumulator beam, renamed because why not? It's actually just the charge beam with a shorter charge time. Not everyone notices that. And you will notice that it still doesn't damage these blue enemies. They're quite strong. So, yep, if this blue plague reached Earth, I'm sure bad things would happen, and that we don't want bad things to happen on Earth, so, you know, let's avoid that by destroying this asteroid. That's the goal of the hack. Hopefully, it was made clear enough by the intro. There are two really main themes with this hack that I wanted to communicate to the player. The first one I can tell you guys about already is the blue plague. Obviously, the blue enemies, the blue this stuff. You don't want it reaching Earth. It's pretty bad. So that's a thing. Anyway, I just killed that eye door with a charge beam. You might notice that you normally can't do that in Super Metroid, but the eye door patch, the eye door custom vulnerability patch, allows you to damage them with charge beam, and you can configure it to let them be damaged by whatever you want if you know how to do some simple ASM code tweaking. I should get to the point though. Kraid is in this room. This room is edited. That's good. Kraid's room is its own tile set, so you have to kind of add everything to the tile set yourself. So this room turned out really nice. Very happy with how it looks. Some people actually complained that this platform was non-solid. They thought it was part of the challenge to make Kraid walk forward. And honestly, that's not a bad idea. Like, I didn't think of that. So maybe I should add that in to make that platform solid. Because I actually made it unsolid just to make the fight feel fair, I guess. I didn't want players to feel ripped off when they tried to shoot at Kraid and just didn't get to damage him. But I don't know, I guess. Maybe that's something worth thinking about, is making it solid. What is interesting, there's a couple interesting things about this room. First of all, I used Black Falcon's chain blocks to break those pillars. Those pillars are normally not in the vanilla Kraid room. that were supporting those platforms, so that was a pretty cool attention to detail. Their braking animation looks a little bit rough, but who cares? Unstable bombs. This is going to do a whole bunch of things. First of all, it shows us that power bombs reveal tiles is in the hack. So that, I thought, was a pretty cool way of showing the player that. Second of all, it opens the door that we can use to get out. Third of all, it unveils this elevator. So that's a lot of things accomplished by this one room. I almost worry that it overwhelms the player, but I feel like it turns out fine. Also, we had a little reserve tank fake out in this room, just for the memes. I actually want to return to Kraid's room, because the room state after you beat him has some changes. And one of those is that this platform is solid. So, just in case players come back into this room and explore it some more, this platform is solid again. There's no reason for it to be air, because Kraid is already dead in this room state. You also see that the black tiles are gone from those chain blocks that were destroyed in the animation. And yeah, so there's different room states for this room. This room also has different room states so that when you come back, those power bomb blocks are gone. They're not obscuring the elevator, so that there's no problems if you want to use this elevator again. But anyway, we've unlocked this elevator. Let's just check out where it goes. There's a super door we can't enter, so let's go the other way. More enemies that we can't hurt. And at the end of this room, we have a sort of nice learning opportunity that I didn't really intend, but it works out nice. This just shows us that those blue enemies are also invulnerable to power bombs. And I didn't really intend that, but since that enemy is right next to the door, the player's going to discover that organically, which is really nice. Just a kind of nice side effect. Normally I would say it's a feature, but just trying to be honest here. You know, sometimes these things just work out and you didn't think about them, but they work out in the end. And now let's check out the other way. We have power bombs, so these doors aren't going to lock behind, or they are going to lock behind us, but we can get out, no problem. And we have another save station. Let's take advantage of that. Okay. And let's a few noteworthy things I want to talk about, but let's go down here first. So this door, you might remember on the other side of this door is actually a power bomb block, or a power bomb door. That is to make it to where if you go to the left path, you can't come back up here until after you kill Kraid. And conversely, if you come through this path first, when you break this missile door, that power bomb door on the other side is going to become unlocked. They share the same door index. So you can come back through this section, but you can't go through the other section because you need bombs or power bombs to go through there. So when you go through one path, the other path becomes locked until after you beat Kraid. Just some really interesting design, at least. We have another blue enemy, a blue Rio. It's pretty cool. We have a big, kind of heavily infected area. Down here at the bottom of this area, the blue tiles are much more prevalent than they are anywhere else. So now we have our missiles, or as the hack calls them, VAPORIZER rounds, just for fun item names again. And so that we're able to open that red gate, and if we were coming here first, we would be able to damage Kraid. Those are both very big benefits. And we're also able to open this gate, which is going to allow us to get this energy tank. So there is an energy tank on both sides. This one is much less hidden, but I honestly think that's okay, because most players are going to find this. I've seen a couple players that forgot to come back here and grab this. But even if you leave both of these sections with just no energy tanks, the hack is still tolerable. So I guess that's the benefit of making this hack on the easy side, because I did make it more on the easy side, honestly. If you get everything, it's going to be on the easy side. But if you don't get everything, it's still okay. There's some room for error there, I guess. That's fine. Another problem is that door tile isn't marked on the map because there's a save station there. Door tiles are marked on this map. That is courtesy of DC's map patch. I love that map patch. This makes the map, in my opinion, look way cool. Also, not first of all, missiles do not even damage the blue enemies, so that's good to know. But anyway, that map patch just makes the map way more descriptive. I love having descriptive maps because I, as a player, rely on maps a lot. So having a map that you can see what you need to explore at a glance is just good. So now we come back here. Now we can go both ways in this. You would be able to do that no matter if you chose left to right earlier. And we can also enter this room now, which you need missiles. Take note of that. You need missiles and bombs to enter this secret, or power bombs. Had to take care to make sure you wouldn't run out of power bombs and become perma-stuck down here. This enemy is going to show you something. This room is kind of puzzly. Each of these paths has a solid wall at the end of it, except for that one, which the enemy shows you. And if you were to come here with power bombs, you might check that out and see, oh, there's a missile up there. So let's just grab that for fun. Alright, and the correct path, if I was to take any of those other paths, these blocks are solid, can't go through them. But if I go over here, as the enemy showed us, if you don't kill him, you can do that. You see an item over here, and a lot of players want to try to grab this from the back side, which you actually can do. I didn't realize that. I don't think any problems arise from that, but it's just interesting, because there's another intended way to get this item, which is over here. But first we're going to get Spring Ball, or the Bouncy Ball. Fun names. It's actually not as bouncy as some of the other spring balls I've seen in my day. Looking at like Inging's hack from a couple contests ago, I think. Don't remember what it was called. Maybe Symphony of Soap, I think it was, had a bouncy ball that was truly bouncy. when you fell on the ground, it would like automatically bounce you. Like it would look like this, where you would fall and it would bounce you right back up. This time I was intentionally doing that, so it's not going to do that on its own. But I have the choice to jump now. And so that's how you are intended to get this missile. Then you come back through this crumble block. And I found that Black Falcon's crumble blocks are great ways of making one-way passageways. Because you can break the crumble block from one side, but not the other. And I can demonstrate that right up here. Because obviously these blocks are part of the same crumble chain, but you can't break it from this side. You have to go over here and break it from this side, and then it's going to break all of those. So that has a lot of potential for creating one-way passageways very easily. You might not realize that at first, but super duper easy to do. Now let's return to the surface, since there's nothing left to do down here really. It might take players a little bit to figure that out, but the elevator from Kraid kind of gives you the hint that you can easily go back up to the surface. You'll notice elevators make a very easy passageway back up. And most players are actually going to use the post-Kraid elevator to get back up to the surface and not the unconventional path that I'm taking. But this way, this area has a morph lock. A lot of people are going to hate me for that, but you need Spring Ball or bombs to get back up here. So I didn't think it was a huge issue. I've not had a single person complain about the use of morph lock right there. And the reason for it is because I wanted to have slopes in the morph tunnel, which you saw were present. So if you saw those earlier and you were curious about issues from unmorphing in that tunnel, don't worry. Don't worry at all. And in this room we have a very interesting secret that almost nobody seems to find. So I'm going to show you guys that and show you a fun fact about this room. There is a power bomb secret right here. And I guess, even though those are the only like CRE tiles in the entire room, so they're a little bit suspicious, maybe they're not suspicious enough. Maybe that's okay. Sometimes, like I said, it's good to have secrets that are more obscure. But we can go down into this and get a missile pickup. I'm gonna get a drink of water real quick. And we can actually find out that this room is connected to the morph ball room. So these rooms are one and the same. and so they they only count collectively as one room towards the room count. So take notes, Jiffy, if you're counting. That's that's a good feature that I made sure to slide in there. But I mean, honestly, I think that outside of the room limit, it is really cool to have a secret that adds continuity to two rooms that you didn't know were connected. That's just a cool thing to have in general. Something that's a cool thing that player can discover if they're really attentive. I have not seen anyone find that though. And now we have our Supa suit, which is a thing that might sound familiar, and the color scheme might look a little bit familiar. If it's not, this is a reference to Frozone's suit from The Incredibles, and the name is a reference to the meme, of course, where he asks, "Where's my Supa suit?" So that's just a thing that I decided to do for fun. Again, this is just kind of meant to be a fun little hack. You know, that was the goal here. It was not to make something super duper hard or challenging. Of course, a hack has to be challenging to be fun to some degree. You can't have a hack where you can literally just mindlessly walk through the whole thing. That's, you know, not fun. But this hack isn't meant to be hyper challenging. It's just meant to be a fun little hack that players can romp through and have a good time. So this Earth, you might not have noticed, but something has changed about it. It has gotten bigger. Quite a bit bigger, in fact. And the reason for that is because it's getting closer. So this asteroid is hurtling towards Earth still, as we're playing through. And the Earth, just in the time that we've been down messing with Kraid and stuff, we've gotten quite a bit closer to the Earth. So that is the second major theme that I wanted to convey to the players in this hack, is that the Earth is getting closer, and we have to stop this asteroid from reaching the Earth. Also, another fun fact about this room, there's a secret here that requires infinite bomb jump, or they're actually probably not required. I'm sure there's other ways to get this. But up here, there's a little secret that I've also not seen anyone find. Well, I've seen one person quote-unquote find it, but they only came up here during the escape sequence, funnily enough, which during that sequence, the item disappears, which is saddening. I would like to fix that. So this is a place you can't reach before you get bombs or anything. You can reach anywhere else in the landing site with bombs except for this. This is an energy tank, so that's kind of a big deal. I feel like maybe I should nerf this secret a little bit. Like, if I'm gonna have another energy tank, maybe I should put it somewhere else. But that's the only secret in the landing site. It's good to have something in the landing site, player, if they're looking around. I think the landing site's tiling turned out pretty well for it using only CRE. So if they're exploring that, you know, it's good to reward them. And here we have another room which is going to make sure the player notices the planet's getting bigger, even if they don't want to return to the landing site and save. They're definitely going to see the Earth still. I wanted to make sure this outside room. This room is a little bit less interesting up here. This tiling's quite boring. I kind of regret this. But the tiling on the ground is, I think, fine. Some people don't like how much you have to jump. Like, these pillars especially are kind of annoying. I agree, they're a little bit annoying. But this room is interesting to tile through. Not quite as fun to run through. Or it's interesting to look at, not quite as fun to run through. Up here is boring. It's the only boring part of the room. The landing site, the areas up on the higher like corners of it are still intricately tiled. So I'd like to fix that. Now for our next area, we have the laboratory. This area is different in multitudes of ways. First of all, you are given the map data right from the start. That is explained in the forum post. There's a little bit of lore explanation for this there. But basically, we're just kind of playing through this from the perspective of someone who didn't read the forum post, which is fine. I tried to explain as much as I could in-game. But about this tile set, I didn't draw this. I'm not going to take credit for this. This was from Black Falcon's random GFX collection. These are his space GFX, and I think they look pretty fantastic, not gonna lie. They're very good to use for a space laboratory in case you happen to be making a hack called the Blue Plague and wanted to have a space laboratory in it. Perfect. We have a save station here, just in case players didn't save with the ship. a wise choice. The game judges you for saving, which is kind of funny. A little secret down here. I'm going to be trying to showcase this whole area as well. We have a giant side hopper here. Only authorized personnel allowed. In order to be authorized, you need to have a missile, I guess. We have an item area. The item rooms are kind of green. There's a little bit of consistency with the colors in this area. The item rooms are green, and other rooms are either red or blue. We'll see the blue soon. And what else? I'm going to try to show everything in this area in a relatively concise manner, so I guess I'm just going to try to take like the intended path, which is through here. This dead body here, again, important stuff. Lore. And we get dropped here into a very tall room. This room is difficult, but not impossible, not even close to impossible to escape from the bottom. So the point is to just kind of be launched into this labyrinthian laboratory, and you are kind of stuck here a little bit. You're not stuck, but, you know, you're gonna have to find your way out. That was kind of the design goal of this laboratory, to make it feel like a big foreboding area. Even though this music is not the most foreboding, it will change. There's several different music tracks used in this area. Got some more vaporizer rounds, a little green room, a little green area. Like I said, in a normal hack, this might be an actual door, but since I wanted to use gates instead to save on room limits, that's okay. You'll notice that in the laboratory, the gates are actually double-sided instead of using the old method of having gates. This was done for a couple reasons. First of all, thematically, the laboratory is more high-tech. I wanted to just kind of show that by having the gates be different. It's kind of a cool little touch. And second of all, it kind of looks cooler. And it also, to prevent you from getting stuck in here, like with no missiles, like if I was to shoot all my missiles in here, I'd have no good way to get out. That's kind of sucks. So every one of these rooms has to have some way to restore your ammo if it's a colored gate. So that was another design consideration that had to be made with that change. Let's just keep going through here. That room was meant to be a little bit of a challenge room. It's actually not that challenging. But the giant side hoppers make it interesting, at least. This gate, though, is not double-sided, and that is very intentional. Got a green gate. One of the only green gates we'll see in this hack. And fun fact, the only two green gates you see in this hack are directly connected. That is directly a connection to the door that is above the pre-crate elevator. So there's actually two connections between these areas. I wanted to make the world a little bit more interconnected. You know, there's several elevators and stuff you can take in the first area, and there's two different connections to the other area. You have a lot of choice, I think, and I tried to make you have a lot of choice in how you navigate this. And this area in particular is somewhat, you know, you can just kind of enter. It feels non-linear, I guess. But in the end, the only real way to progress is to come this way, into this room, where we'll be getting a certain item that will allow us to get another certain item that will allow us to progress. But you can check out all the other areas, or most of the other rooms in this area without this. Ow. So that's kind of a guy. He's a giant blue side hopper, which is rare to see, and he also does a lot of damage. But he's also in the same room as an E-tank, so if you get hit and you manage to make it out of that pit, no big deal. You get a reward with an energy tank for your troubles. And you get full health from that. So, yeah, I guess that red light up there kind of signifies that there's a big trouble coming. And if you also have other troubles in this room, you can have a refill right there that you can come back to whenever you want. And that's important because we have a little bit of a spike gauntlet. Sadly, these spikes were not animated. That's something I didn't get around to doing because time constraints. So I regret that. It's one thing I would change about this hack, and I will change about it in the future release. But, you know, not having animated spikes is not a deal breaker, for sure. So I didn't think that was the top priority of things I should fix. But this is a little bit of a gauntlet here. I wanted to have some challenges in this hack. A hack is not fun if it's not challenging at all. And you get rewarded quite handsomely for it. You get the space beam, which will allow us to open gates from the opposite side. So you'll notice that the gate we came into this room in was facing the opposite way. Now we can get back out if we were to like save and reload the game, so the gate would be closed again, because I haven't even reloaded the room. We also have a giant side hopper here. This guy, you could see him from the other side here, so it's not entirely unfair, I think. And it's just one last challenge. So notice you can't open this gate without wave beam, because you would need to be able to shoot it first. And wave beam is the only beam that can shoot through walls, of course. So after that spike gauntlet, we have an energy refill again. And now that's going to allow us to go through this gate, which we couldn't go through before without wave beam. More giant side hoppers, but this one is not a big deal with our new beam. Enter through the red gate here. Well, not red gate, but the gate with some red markings on it. I guess there's a tiling error here. That is interesting. I never noticed that. This pipe is not continuous. It doesn't go all the way down the length of the room. And in fact, yeah, I guess that's just a small error. I'd like to point it out. Like I said, pointing out errors in my own hack is important, not only for you guys to understand that I'm trying to be objective in my showcase of my hack, but also so that if I come back and watch this video later, I can fix things. So this is the second super gate that we found, on top of the 2 super doors that we found. We also have a wave beam gate here, which is going to allow us to come over here. And I am going through things in the optimal order. So if you were playing this hack for the first time, you might not do that. You might not happen to stumble upon every area in the right order, but that's okay. I feel like the game is kind of going to do a decent job of pulling you in the right direction. One other thing I would like to fix in this room is the scrolls, so you couldn't see this area, hopefully, until after you enter it. It's not the end of the world, though, how it is, so again, didn't end up getting fixed in release. One thing that bothered some people about this hack is that these supports for these platforms are solid. And I actually agree with that. That's kind of dumb, and that's something I would like to change for the main site release in the future, so sorry about that. It's not a huge deal, but like I mean, this thing kind of looks like it should be part of the background. It's pretty dim, and it's also inconsistent with other platforms that look like it, or other things that look like it. We get high jump or gravity boots here. They're not an item that's essential to complete the hack at all. They're just kind of a thing that's nice to have. So there you have them now. Gonna make platforming a little bit easier. Side hoppers galore in this area, just for fun, I guess. Side hoppers are kind of a troublesome enemy to work with, though, because when they first appear, they kind of jump at you like really fast. So yeah, overall I'm pretty happy with how both of these areas look. Actually very happy with how this hack turned out. I'm quite proud of this. You jump down here, you see a million rippers, and you're like, okay, probably gonna get ice beam. And you're pretty much right. It's the paralyzer beam. So I'm not sure if this is obvious or not. Hold on, let me take a drink of water real quick, guys. I'm not sure if this is obvious or not, but this beam is actually meant to be based off of the paralyzer beam from Metroid Zero Mission. The beam that you use when you lose your suit, and all you have is your Zero suit and a paralyzer. And so, to go along with that, the ice beam freeze time has been lowered by quite a bit. So that adds to the challenge of using the ice beam, and that actually irked some people. Other people thought it was a cool change, like MST appreciated it a lot. So kind of a mixed bag of reactions with that one, but I think I'll probably keep it. Maybe I'll make the timer a little bit more lenient, or I'll do other things to make a certain section that we're coming up on a little bit more forgiving. But I think the concept of this thing being a paralyzer, the paralyzer beam from Metroid Zero Mission, is cool in general. So I was just looking at this door transition. There's a little bit of flickering with that door. That was a bug that me and some of the people on the Discord were talking about today. I believe it's part of Racky's door speed-ups, but it's such a minor bug that you probably didn't even notice it without me pointing it out. But it is worth pointing out. Anyway, there was one other, like, sort of issue that I wanted to point out. But, oh, so about these things, supports being inconsistent, I don't know if that was clear enough earlier, but this is solid and these are not, and they look exactly the same. That kind of inconsistency is just dumb, so I will be the first to admit that. Again, apologies. I will try to make these supports non-solid wherever I can in the next release, just to make it a little bit more fun to traverse the world. Oh yeah, that's what I'm gonna point out. The freeze timer for the blue enemies is very short. The freeze timer for the side hoppers is very long. And I'm gonna be honest with you, that was not intentional. When I was changing the ice beam timer, I thought I was changing it for all enemies, not just the blue ones. So I was actually quite shocked to find out that when I changed it for the blue enemies, it didn't change it for all the other enemies. That was a surprise to me. But it worked. People thought it was an intentional feature, and honestly, it works with the theme of the hack quite well because it makes the blue enemies seem stronger than the other ones by making them more resistant to this paralyzer beam. So it worked out. That's definitely a feature that's going to be staying in the hack, but it's just really funny that that was another unintentional feature. So this is the section that's a little bit unforgiving that I was talking about. You're required to use this paralyzer that has a shorter time than the regular ice beam. And there's just a bunch of rippers here. And like I said, a mixed bag of reactions here. You just gotta be a little bit careful. I might have to think about this a little bit. Might not be able to provide as good commentary for a sec. Hold on, excuse me. There we go. So it's not the worst thing in the world. Obviously, I made the hack, so it's easier for me. So it's not that easy. Most people are gonna be spending a little bit of time on this, but it's doable. It's not the end of the world. So I guess I'll have to think more about if that's too hard, if I should scale that down or not. I'm not entirely sure at this point. Maybe if you guys have some feedback on that, you could say so in the comments if you want. We have a blue side hopper right here. That's important because we are gonna get obliterator rounds, aka super missiles, right here. Very good item to have. That's gonna open up 2 doors and a couple gates for us to activate. Actually, 3 gates. And a little known fact about this hack is that you can kill blue enemies with super missiles. So most people don't discover that, and you never need it to finish the hack. You never even need it at all, but it's a fun little thing for people to discover. I like just having things like that where if people experiment with all of their weapons, they might find some utility that they might not have otherwise have had. That kind of stuff is nice, I think. I don't know if it's a little bit obscure to have that kill them and nothing else does, but since you never need it to beat the hack, I don't think it's a problem, personally. So let's go and get the items that we needed super missiles for. That, yeah, there's a couple rooms I'm going to show you. There's a room on the top of the map. I'm going to show that on my way out of this area. I think I am anyway. Yeah, let's do that. That works quite well. So we haven't gone through this hallway yet. Again, this area is just very interconnected. I tried to make it like that, just to make it not only feel like more of a confusing, like, intimidating area, but also for ease of access and interesting routing in speedrunning and stuff. I feel like for speedrunning and stuff for this hack, I wanted routing to be interesting. So first of all, we have the crate room choice, and then this whole area routing is just interesting. I watched a task of this hack that actually got super missiles before space beam and before paralyzer beam, which means they basically enter this area, immediately got supers, and then could do other things that you'll see in a moment. That was really impressive, so great job to that tasker. Dude, okay, it is a huge honor watching a task that someone made of your hack. Like, that was just awesome. I have never seen that before, but I just want to give a shout out to, I believe it was Garan was his name, who made the task. If I got that wrong, I'm sorry, but thank you so much, dude. He posted it in the discussion thread for this hack. That was an honor. So this room is kind of, the best way to navigate it is to just kill this blue side hopper with supers. You could also just freeze him and bait him in a way that you could get around him. But there's multiple ways to tackle that. And again, multiple ways to tackle challenges in Metroid games is probably like a really good thing to have. I tried to work on including that wherever I could. This missile refill makes it to where you don't actually have to worry that much about dealing with that giant side hopper. What's the quickest way down? I think the quickest way down is actually back the way we came. So let's do that. There's some refill bugs here again. Wanted to just do my best to make sure the player never really had a huge problem with energy and saving and stuff. There's a lot of save stations in this hack. I just want this hack to be accessible. I just want it to be a hack where pretty much anyone can just pick it up and have a good time. That was my goal. I like to just do that, make hacks where people can just have fun regardless of anything else. That's my chief design goal in most of my hacks, at least so far. Maybe that'll change, but for the time being, that's the thing I try to do. So just the extra missile you can get here. We could have got this missile earlier, I'm pretty sure. But now we have it, so that's fun. Yeah, we definitely could have got it earlier. Let's go down here. We have a bunch of refills. That's interesting. I might have went overboard with the refills in this a little bit, but too much is better than not enough, maybe. Although I don't want this hack to feel like baby mode either. Like I said, baby mode's no fun. So I can actually kill these guys, but as you just saw, paralyzing them is a viable strategy as well to get through this room. Multiple ways to do a lot of things in this hack. That's something I'm quite proud of. Multiple ways to route in before Kraid, multiple ways to get through this area, multiple ways to kill the enemies. And one last thing that there will be multiple ways to do will be shown in a moment. First though, we have some foreboding rooms here with some foreboding music and some threatening enemies. Those key hunters were something that we saw much earlier in the hack, as you might remember, but this time we actually encountered them and tried to make them do some considerable amounts of damage and such. And our last suit is the stability suit, probably the worst looking one, but I actually don't think it's the worst palette in the world. It's just very green. It's kind of a puke green. And this room makes sure that you know the Earth is close. Look how big this Earth is. It's much bigger than it was last time. So we gotta do something about this, right? Well, that's where this next room comes in. This is the main reactor core, and as the message says, one unstable bomb in this room will cause a reactor meltdown. So let's just take a look around real quick. This is the main reactor core. Unstable bombs are just power bombs renamed. And if you were to bomb around this room, you would find out that these little reactor cores are destroyable by power bombs. Yet another hint, I guess. In general, power bombing is a really good problem-solving tool in Metroid, especially when you add power bomb reveal tiles. So you do that, as the message kind of instructs you to. Okay, couple things. Escape sequence starts. That's a big deal. Second of all, this room's message, the message about the power bombs, is a very hand-holdy thing to do. That's an interesting decision, but I feel like in this case, just kind of basically spelling it out for the player what to do is not a bad thing. Just so that I can communicate the somewhat obscure thing that you need to do to beat the hack. Like, if this is required to beat the hack, so I wanted to make sure that everyone understood what you needed to do it. Without further ado, let's start escaping. You might notice the music stops. I can't escape. Suddenly, Bomb Chorizo, or Golden Chorizo. So we have a fight in the middle of the escape. That's a thing. I think boss fights during the escape are very cool. But obviously, his sprite is bugged out because there are limitations on how much you can have on screen at once. And that is sad. I didn't have time to look into fixing that. You might be able to make it so they don't use the same VRAM. I'm not sure if there's extra VRAM that I could have used to put this Bomb Chorizo graphics in. Or Golden Chorizo graphics in. They're the same graphics, really. And one other thing I would like to change about this fight is the palette of Golden Chorizo. He's not blue. I mean, what kind of deep blue contest entry is that, right? So, anyway, Golden Chorizo is dead. 3 minutes to spare. 3 minutes is definitely enough time to get out of this place using almost any route. And that's another thing. During this escape sequence, every single door in the hack is unlocked. I made sure to do that. There's a couple interesting consequences of that, but you can route your own escape. So there are multiple ways to route this escape. So that was a very interesting decision. And the way I did that was kind of hacky and dumb, and I wouldn't do it again if I were to go back. Because basically, there are no special room states for the escape. What essentially happens is each room has a main ASM that only activates if the escape is happening. Or more precisely, if the timer is on screen, which is obviously only going to be on screen if the escape is happening. This code was made by Phosphodidyl. He made the code that makes the explosions and stuff happen, and I kind of reused it and edited it to make the music happen. So the music also had to be activated using custom code. And that resulted in a bug that I'm not happy with, where the music, as you can see, often resets when you enter new rooms. So in case anyone was wondering why that was happening, this is why. Because I did the escape in a way that doesn't involve making us have a room state for every escape room, which is nice, but also has that quirk, and it probably can fix that. Basically, the setup ASM checks if the timer is on screen, and if the timer is on screen, then it starts the escape music. But room transitions often reset the music, and then so that ASM is going to restart the music. Kind of a flaw. I would like to resolve that by just doing escape the normal way next time. And it also has some other effects like this. The code doesn't work properly in every room, so there's this room and at least one other room I know of where the music just doesn't work right. So I'm sorry to see that happen. That's something I'll fix in the next update for sure. The escape's just going to be a conventional escape. Every escape room's going to have its own room state, and I'm probably not going to try to have every escape room just use the same main ASM pointer that checks if the escape's happening. One last thing about this escape, one last bug. You can save and reset during the escape, and what that does is it removes the timer from the screen, so the escape, the rooms don't blow up and the music doesn't play. But if you come back into this room, you can tell if the escape sequence event is activated because these little puffs of smoke will be coming out of the ground. So you can still escape the hack if you do that. You can save and reload. Saving it and reloading during an escape sequence is generally bad, so I would like to, in the future, disable save stations. Most people just assumed I was a good designer and disabled the escapes or the save stations during the escape anyway. They were wrong, but I was kind of happy to see that they did the intended route and did not save and reset during the escape. And for the people who did, congratulations, I guess. You know, you found a little quirk in this hack and you took advantage of it to get out of the escape in the most efficient way possible, and it allowed people to just explore the world if they wanted to. This sequence is buggy, I know. That looked bad. Yeah. I'm gonna work on this. I'll probably keep the Zavis exploding animation because drawing every frame for the asteroid exploding is effort. We'll see though, maybe I'll feel artsy in a few months. But that's it, guys. That's the Blue Plague, and I know everything about this hack. So that went very fast. It might take other people a little bit longer to beat it. But I tried to tell you everything I could possibly in as short of a time as I could. So let's see what clear time we have. 40 minutes in game. Not bad. I've cleared it faster, but not that much faster. Really, I think my fastest time was only 10 minutes less in game time. It was less than 10 minutes less, sorry. So normally this is the part where I'd give my final thoughts on the hack. I can't give my final thoughts on my own hack because they would be biased, of course. All I can say is that I hope that you guys enjoy this hack for what it is. I know it's not perfect, but it is something that I'm proud of. The planet getting closer is a pretty cool idea in my opinion, and I feel like it was telegraphed to the player decently well. They are forced to, at some points, go see open space and see the planet is getting closer. I feel like the Blue Plague was communicated decently to the player as well. Obviously, blue enemies are much stronger, and so that's another unique aesthetic thing that ties into the gameplay. And yeah, in general, I just try to design it to where you have some choice as to the way you tackle things. The more, the merrier in terms of options. Like if a player thinks of a creative solution to a problem, I think it's a good idea to just let them do it for the most part, as long as it doesn't break anything, you know? So I tried to stay true to that, and this has just been a fun contest in general. Thank you all for participating in this contest with me, whether it be just watching these videos, or voting on your favorite hack in the contest, or if you're one of the people who made your own contest hack, thanks, man. It's been an honor competing against you all. And the results of the contest have not been posted yet, but may the best hack win. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens there. In the meantime, though, I'm very glad to see that this hack doesn't have like huge issues. I have not seen a single person crash the game. That's awesome to me. I have seen at least one perma-stuck that I forgot to point out to you guys. Sorry about that. It was in one of the missile rooms. There's a sloping error which would cause you to get stuck in a wall. I'm sure there's a couple other errors I forgot to point out. There's probably a couple other things I added that I might have forgotten to point out as well. That's the thing with a hack, is when you're trying to whip through it like this and show everything you can and you're distracted by talking, it's easy to miss things. So, but I think I covered pretty much everything. So again, thank you all for watching. Let's just see what my item percent is. I changed the item percents in this hack, but I got the percentage wrong, so the maximum percent that I know of is 112%. So if we got that, that means I probably got every item. So we'll see about that. But this has just been a fun time. My second hack. My first hack was made in fall of 2017, so it's been a minute. Oh, 104, so I missed something. I know what I missed. Yes. If you remember that post-Kraid elevator room with the super missile block, there's an item back there. I'll leave it up to you guys if you want to play the hack and find out what that item is. I think that's the only thing that I missed. Of course, it's entirely possible there's something else too. But yeah, again, this has just been a blast. It's so fun to just be involved in everything. So thank you all. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys later.